Okay, it's now time to take a quiz over what you've learned. So, question number 1, what is the difference between a terrestrial planet and a gas giant? So, first you could have said terrestrial planets are made of rock, gas giants are made of gas, mainly hydrogen and helium. You could have said that terrestrial planets are relatively small in comparison to a gas giant. You could have also said terrestrial planets are located in the inner part of the solar system, and the gas giants are located in the middle part of the solar system. Question number 2. Name some consequences on a planet if its mass is too small. All right, so think in terms of dominoes. So one thing causes another thing to happen, and then that thing causes another thing to happen. So if its mass is too small, what's that going to say about its gravity? So it's going to have low gravity. Okay, now let's talk about heat. So if it has small amount of mass, then it's not going to be able to retain its heat. So it's going to be cold inside. It's going to lose its internal heat very quickly. So what's that going to do? So if it cools inside, then its magnetic field goes away. So it loses its magnetic field. And then it also loses what? Plate tectonics. Okay, and then if it loses its plate tectonics, what does that do? Okay, then now you're going to have less volcanism, so less volcanoes. If you have less volcanoes, then that means you can have less CO2. If you have less CO2, then that means it's going to be colder. Okay, now if it loses its magnetic field, then that means it's going to lose its magnetosphere, which means it's going to lose its atmosphere. Okay, if it has low gravity, then again it's going to have a small atmosphere because it can't hold on to it. So lots of things going on, and it all comes, it starts with this, and you can see it has this catastrophic effect on the planet. Question number 3. Why does the moon have white and gray colored surfaces? So the white part of the moon is going to be the lunar highlands, and then the gray part is going to be the maria. So the white part, the lunar highlands, is the original crust of the moon. So originally it was white. And then as asteroids came in and they smacked the moon, they would punch a hole through the crust into the mantle area, and then basaltic materials would flow up and fill up the crater. So that's going to be the maria. So the maria is composed of dark basalt, and then the crust is composed of this white anorthosite. Both of them are igneous rocks. Question number 4. Why is Mercury so hot and why is Mercury so cold? Okay, it's because of its very, very thin atmosphere, and because it's so close to the sun. So because of the thin atmosphere, sunlight from the sun penetrates through the atmosphere, heats up the surface. So it's going to be very hot wherever the sun is shining. But wherever the sun's not shining, that heat just goes back into outer space. Because the atmosphere is so thin, it can't hold on to that heat. So it's going to be hot where the sun is at, cold where it's not at. Number 5, why is Venus so hot? Okay, runaway greenhouse effect. So that on Venus, there's no problem with volcanoes. So volcanoes produce carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. It acts like a blanket so that sunlight can penetrate the clouds. It heats up the surface. The surface radiates the heat. The clouds hold it in so that the planet gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Okay, number 6. How did these structures form on Mars? So what are the structures? They're going to be river channels. And we think that there's 2 possible explanations. One is that early in Mars's history, it had oceans, it had rivers, it had an atmosphere, so it was very Earth-like. And so there was water that flowed on the surface of Mars. The other possibility is that there is water that is frozen under the ground and occasionally it gets heated up. That water boils up to the surface, and for very short periods of time you have these very terrific floods, but the water evaporates very quickly. Number 7, why is the moon Io so volcanic? Okay, it's because of the tidal effects of Jupiter constantly squeezing on Io, and that energy heats up the inside of the moon. Number 8, what substance can be solid, liquid, or gas on the surface of the moon Titan? And that's going to be methane. And number 9, what is unusual about the type of plate tectonics on the planet Pluto? It's based on ice, whereas on Earth it's rocks. The lithosphere is composed of rocks. They can be pulled apart, they can be pushed together, they can slide past each other. On Pluto, it's ice. So you have areas on Pluto where ice is being pulled apart and new ice is forming underneath it. You got other areas where the ice is coming together and it's making ice mountains. You have ice volcanoes. So everything that we have on Earth is also on Pluto. It's all another difference though is it's much slower. So the process of plate tectonics on Pluto is slower than the process of plate tectonics on Earth. So there you go. So I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit about the solar system. If you want to learn more about the solar system, then watch my videos, Introduction to Astronomy. Okay, so we have one last video in our series, and we're going to talk about the state of Missouri in North America. So I'll see you for that. Bye.